Let's discuss this with a former candidate for the European Parliament and member of the Finnish National Conservative Freedom Alliance Party, Armando Memma. Mr. Memma, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, now, despite Kyiv's claims of fake news, Moscow has now provided proof of the attack on President Putin's residence. So how will the presentation of hard evidence affect Zelensky and Ukraine politically?
Clearly, this action carried out probably by Ukraine or by Western forces, it puts Ukraine in a very bad situation, a very bad condition for any future talks or negotiations. Russia said that this action, which was carried out by Ukraine, according to Russian officials, will make Russia review its position for the what were at this point the peace talks with America. This is a very dangerous attack against a head of state. And what makes it even more dangerous is that we are talking about a super nuclear power state. And President Putin is among the few people who can carry out strategic nuclear attacks in case of an escalation, and posing a threat to the highest figure of the Russian Federation. It is an action that I've condemned personally, and other people around the world and head of states have condemned. Unfortunately, Kaja Kallas, the so-called head of diplomacy for Europe, took a very bad stance. Instead of distancing from this attack, she's trying to cover and trying to blame Russia of inventing this attack. Even there have been multiple elements that I personally can judge that this was carried out as attack, and you wouldn't have head of state like India condemning the attack if this was not carried out. So I would certainly say that personally, I believe that the attack took place, and the EU should have distanced from Ukraine. In this case, should have sent a diplomatic note to Russia and say, we condemn the attack, we condemn terrorist attack against head of states. And instead, Kallas is taking a very bad stance on this.
And what about the negotiation process? How do you think Ukraine's failed attack will affect it?
This will affect terribly the negotiations for the future, because we are in a condition now where probably Russia is evaluating what the response to this attack will be. We don't know the outcome. If the attack were to be successful, even all of Europe would have been put in danger. So this attack not only puts Ukraine in a worse situation for negotiations, but also the whole Europe. Certainly, Zelensky will look from the European community. This kind of attacks shouldn't take place, and it will affect him in the future for at the negotiation table.
Now, President Lukashenko of Belarus claimed that Britain could be behind this attack on Putin's residence. So what do you think of this theory? Why might London be involved in something like this?
Sorry, I had some connection problem and couldn't hear the question properly. Can you please repeat?
Yes, well, President Lukashenko of Belarus, he claimed that Britain could be behind this attack on Putin's residence. And what do you think of this theory? Why might London be involved in something like this?
Yes, yes. Clearly, this shows whoever carried the attack, which at this point, personally, I cannot be sure for who did it, but whoever did it because Europe will be in a very bad situation politically if peace were to be achieved. Why? Because the European Union, the Western leaders, Merz, Ursula von der Leyen, Kallas, Starmer, all of them, they put a bet on the victory of Ukraine against Russia. And if peace were to be achieved, then it will be the biggest political failure for the EU leaders. So they are trying to undermine all possible peace efforts, especially made by the US administration and by President Trump. So this, even if it were not the UK or even it was UK, it doesn't matter at this point. Ukraine is being supported by the Western leaders and NATO, and whatever action affects Ukraine, it certainly have the support from Western leaders. And so, you know, it doesn't matter if it was UK or France or Germany, it's the old bloc who is supporting the proxy against Russia. We bear responsibility when this kind of dangerous attacks takes place against the Russian Federation. So this is what I think.
Now, Lukashenko, the Belarusian president, he also says that Vladimir Putin refused to even consider striking at Zelensky when he had the opportunity. Let's take a listen to this.
When the Oreshnik missile was used for the first time, some hotheads suggested to Putin that we should launch a second strike against these terrorists and so on, or even against the decision-making centers. Putin categorically rejected this idea outright. It's not that they agreed not to shoot at each other, but the situation in this war was such that no one was trying to assassinate any of the heads of state. No one did. And then, an attempt to strike one of the presidential residences.
So, Mr. Mema, in your opinion, why has Russia refused to target high-level political figures? And could Moscow's response change in response to this attack?
It's difficult to predict when this kind of situation happens, that head of states residents are targeted. It's difficult to predict the outcome. Russia has shown to be very responsible in all of these provocations that have been happening through these years. I personally hope that also this time Russia will maintain a position of responsibility and wait for the peace negotiation to be concluded before taking any harsh measure and retaliation that it's according to UN Charter at this point is fully entitled, and any attack in response will be lawful under international law. So it's a very dangerous moment. I hope that Russia will be responsible and you know, continue the talks with President Trump, and possibly if the EU leaders are involved, to be excluded for future talks. This is what I would hope to happen.
Thank you so much for the details, Mr. Mema. We just heard from former candidate for the European Parliament and member of the Finnish National Conservative Freedom Alliance Party, Armando Mema.